Greetings and welcome to Life is an Art, so learn how to live. My name is Fernando Alvarez, and my vision is to help you experience a more fulfilling, joyful, and empowering life. In this episode 12, I will focus on the importance of getting a full night's sleep. Humans are the only living species on the planet that consciously rob themselves of sleep. It is unfortunate to see how many of us underestimate the true value of a full night's sleep. Most of us are so stressed or determined at getting so many things done in a 24-hour period that we take time away from sleeping fully. The worst part is that many of the activities, habits, rituals, and tasks that we have or carry out during the day undermine our ability to fully sleep at night. According to the World Health Organization, sleep deprivation is becoming one of the greatest challenges to overcome in the 21st century. Mathew Walker, a scientist from Great Britain and a neuroscience and psychology professor at Berkeley and former professor of psychiatry at Harvard University, stated that sleep is a non-negotiable biological necessity life support system. As such, proper sleep is necessary for optimal health. Lack of sufficient quality sleep negatively affects general brain function, our capacity to learn, the reproductive system, the cardiac system, the immune system, our emotional stability, the body's ability to fight disease such as cancer and Alzheimer's, and not sleeping fully also distorts the proper function of genes, and this leads to disease. I will elaborate on this crucial topic and reflect on many insights to help you ponder on why sleeping fully is so important in life. This reflection will hopefully help you make better choices during your day so you can regularly create the proper circumstances to have a full and effective sleep at night. Many of the following insights and findings come from the research and studies done by neuroscientist Mathew Walker. Now, even though we humans consider ourselves as the most intelligent species on the planet, it is ironic to see how we are the only species that willingly, on a daily basis, make decisions and have habits that really undermine our well-being and health in general. In regards to sleep, through our actions, we constantly deprive ourselves of this natural and fantastic mechanism that is designed to keep us healthy. In the 1940s, people were getting about at least 20% more sleep than we're getting now. There was an interesting study done to two groups of healthy adults. One group was allowed to sleep for 8 hours per night for 7 days. The other group was only allowed to sleep for about 6 hours per night for 7 days too. Then the gene activity profile of both groups was compared. Now, the results were astonishing. The group that slept for 6 hours per day showed that 711 of their genes were irregular. Out of the 711 genes, half of the genes increased in activity and the other half decreased in their activity. Now, the genes that increased their activity were the ones that enhanced tumors, inflammation, and cardiovascular problems and issues. On the other hand, the genes that decreased their activity were responsible for keeping the immune system in check and healthy. As you can see, when we do not get sufficient sleep, we undermine our health and shorten our life. As Mathew Walker states, lack of sleep erodes the fabric of biological life itself. it compromises one's genetic code. Now let's talk a little bit about the brain and sleeping habits. Sufficient sleep is essential for learning. You need proper sleep to prepare the brain before learning and proper sleep after learning to allow the brain to place new information in memory. Sadly, so many students, whether high school or university, have the bad habit of pulling all-nighters. According to Walker, this is a self-defeating habit because it reduces one's capacity to learn by at least 40%. You see, a crucial part of the brain involved in learning is the hippocampus. When one sleeps fully and well, the activity measured in the hippocampus is very healthy. However, if we do not sleep well, the hippocampus shows no measurable activity. It is like it shuts down. Now, why does sleeping fully strengthen memory? Well, as Walker recalls, when we sleep, the brain produces strong waves that produce critical electrical activity. The total quality of the sum of these waves function as an information transport mechanism during the night. Now, this mechanism places information from a short-term storage to a long-term storage in the brain. Also, sleeping fully helps the brain associate new information with previous information learned. This creates links that promote new learning and more creativity and problem solving. As we can see, pulling all-nighters takes precious time from our essential sleep. This lack of sleep hampers the brain's ability to prepare and to activate the brain's information transport mechanism. What about aging and memory? Well, as we get older, our ability to learn effectively and to memorize also declines. Also, our capacity to engage in deep quality sleep diminishes. Excuse me. This decline in deep sleep weakens our ability to learn and to memorize. Now, to get an idea of the damaging effects of not sleeping fully, let's take the immune system, for example. As stated by Walker, research shows that getting 4 hours of sleep in only one night diminishes the activity of the killer cells found in the immune system by 70%. Thus, there's a clear connection between not getting sufficient sleep and the risk of suffering from cancer, such as bowel, prostate, and breast cancer. Another interesting point is that the World Health Organization considers that people engaged in nighttime shift work or activities have a much greater chance of developing cancer due to how sleep wave rhythms are negatively affected by the lack of sleep. You see, lack of quality sleep certainly undermines all aspects of the physiology of the human body. Walker puts it beautifully when he says that sleeping fully is not an optional lifestyle luxury that we can negotiate. It is actually a biological need that is non-negotiable. Either we sleep or we suffer the consequences. Getting quality sleep at night, as Walker states, is the greatest and most powerful elixir of life. Also, when we sleep at night, the body has the opportunity to cleanse itself and get rid of many toxins, including toxic protein. Sadly, in our current society, there is certainly a sleep loss epidemic that robs us the essential benefits that we will get from sleeping properly and fully, Walker observes. Now, how can we improve sleep? Well, there are a few key helpful strategies to improve the quality and duration of our sleep. First, one must abstain from alcohol and caffeine. I will discuss the negative impact of these substances in a moment. Second, if one has difficulty sleeping at night, one needs to avoid taking naps during the day. Third, one must have a regular schedule for going to bed and getting up the next day. Keeping a regular schedule anchors sleep and enhances its quality and duration. Setting a bed alarm helps one to go to sleep at a regular time. However, setting a wake-up alarm in the morning is not the ideal situation because the response of our cardiovascular system to a wake-up alarm is stressful. The heart rate increases and the stress chemicals triggered also increase. However, most of us need a wake-up alarm not to oversleep. But we must truly avoid the use of the snooze option because if the alarm goes off multiple times due to the snooze option, one is putting the cardiovascular system under stress multiple times, and this is not healthy. Fourth, it is important to maintain a cool temperature in one's bedroom at night. You see, when one sleeps, the body lowers its temperature between 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit to start sleep and to stay asleep. This is between 1.10 and 1.6 degrees Celsius. Fifth, avoid using electronic devices such as your phone or pads right before sleeping. You see, the problem with devices is threefold. First, the blue light emitted in many of these devices stops the release of melatonin, which signals the body that it is nighttime and prepares one to go to sleep. Second, these devices have applications that are addictive and cause what is called sleep procrastination. Thus, even though one may be sleepy, one gets caught up in watching videos, reading chats, tweets, comments, etc. Third, if one watches or reads news on these devices or on the television, one's stress level tends to go up because nowadays news are so negative. Thus, a stress hormone called cortisol increases and this disrupts sleep. You see, under normal conditions, cortisol levels in the body should decrease at night in preparation for proper sleep. Finally, the last thing one should do right after waking up is to check one's smartphone for emails, news, tweets, messages, etc. You see, most of this information in the morning produces a certain level of anxiety, and this is the last thing you need. This also trains the brain to expect stress in the morning when you wake up. It is called anticipatory anxiety, Walker emphasizes. Adopting the above habits will certainly improve the quality, duration, and the positive effects of your sleep. Now, what about the use of caffeine? Well, the problem with caffeine is that it is a stimulant. Now, the half-life of caffeine is about 6 hours and the quarter life is about 12 hours. Thus, if one drinks a cup of coffee in the early morning, there should not be a disruption of one's sleep at night. However, if one consumes coffee during or after midday, the stimulating effects of caffeine usually persist up or beyond midnight, and this will certainly impair proper quality sleep. Now, what are the issues with alcohol and sleep? Well, unfortunately, many people use alcohol as a sedative to relax and to help them fall asleep. Even though we may fall asleep, alcohol is a sedative and sedation is not sleep. Very important to understand that. Never interpret sedation as sleep. What is actually happening is that alcohol shuts off the frontal cortex and one ends up in a state of sedation, and sedation is definitely not natural sleep. You see, alcohol negatively affects the circadian rhythm, which we refer to as our internal clock. By drinking, one can fall asleep faster, but wake up faster many times during the night, the middle of the night. Now, after one drinks, the brain releases a chemical called adenosine that promotes sleep quickly. However, this sleep-inducing chemical levels off very quickly and one wakes up before being fully rested. Also, alcohol impairs REM sleep. This type of sleep is the most restorative sleep. The less REM sleep we're able to achieve, the less focused we are the next day. Now, according to Walker, REM sleep is crucial for one's emotional and mental well-being. Alcohol also increases breathing problems. You see, drinking relaxes the muscles of the throat. Thus, the chances of snoring and having sleep apnea increase. Finally, alcohol also acts as a diuretic. So drinking causes one to take several trips to the restroom, and this, of course, interrupts one's sleep. Now, what about the use of marijuana to relax and help one fall asleep? Well, as studied by Walker, many people use marijuana to relax and remove the anxiety that makes falling asleep difficult. Unfortunately, marijuana blocks REM sleep, which is deep sleep. The negative side effect is that one can become more anxious and depressed the next day. Sadly, many people fall into the loop of taking more marijuana to tackle the symptoms caused by the initial intake of marijuana. You see, it is a self-defeating habit that does not promote quality sleep, and general well-being in regard to anxiety and depression. Now, is it possible for one to recuperate sleep, especially during the weekend, for example? Many of us rob ourselves of sleep during the week and pretend we can recuperate it during the weekend. Also, we believe that we will reap the benefits of sleeping late in the morning. However, this is not truly the case. As pointed out by Walker, one cannot accumulate a debt by not sleeping and expect to repay it at a later date by sleeping in late. It does not work that way. It's not that simple. You see, the negative effects of sleep deprivation are accumulative, and these cannot be restored. Walker indicates that people who only sleep 5 hours or less at night have a 60% higher mortality rate at any moment. Even if one could reduce the mortality rate by getting more sleep during the weekend, one will typically experience an unhealthy life, and according to Walker, one is more likely to suffer from diabetes, obesity, and deficient cardiovascular health. Now, what about insomnia, which so many people suffer from? An important part of the world's population definitely suffers from insomnia. Now, what is the major cause? Well, stress and anxiety are the major contributors to insomnia. Now, this anxiety may be caused by all types of worries related to health, work, family, finances, your studies, responsibilities, and commitments. Other causes may be related to poor health habits in general. Now, additional causes may be related to the use of caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, and prescription drugs, and having mental health issues, medical conditions, and of course, sleep-related problems. Now, it is important insomnia symptoms may be having a hard time falling asleep at night, waking up several times during the night, waking up too early and not being able to go back to sleep, not being completely rested in the morning when waking up, being tired and sleepy during the day, not being able to concentrate or remember information, and feeling irritable and worried during the day. Now, apart from visiting a specialist to treat insomnia due to medical or mental conditions, Most of us may be able to treat insomnia via meditation, deep breathing, being in an appreciative state, changing some key health habits and routines that undermine our ability to fall and stay asleep during the night, etc. Some of the key things we must reduce or eliminate to avoid the risk of suffering from insomnia are the consumption of caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol. Also, eating late at night or eating a very heavy meal for dinner may also cause insomnia. Additionally, having a regular exercise routine and a regular sleeping schedule also help in reducing or eliminating insomnia. Now, according to Walker, sleeping pills are not a sustainable solution to treat insomnia. Again, as Walker says, since sleeping pills sedate, they do not promote proper sleep. They only sedate the body by shutting off the frontal cortex. And as we said before, sedation is definitely not sleep. Also, people that use sleeping pills on a continuous basis have a higher risk of death and of getting cancer. In addition, when people stop using sleeping pills, their bodies go back to bad sleep, and sleep issues can even become a more serious problem. As Walker stated before, the best insurance policy in terms of health care is sleep. Through my experience, I certainly do agree with this statement. Now, how is sleep deprivation related to overeating and having healthy eating habits? Well, if we do not sleep well, we are more prone to gain weight. Let me tell you why. By not sleeping well, the hormones that regulate hunger are thrown off balance. Leptin is the hormone that says to our brain that we are hungry, and ghrelin tells our brain that we are full. When we do not sleep enough, the levels of leptin, the hormone that tells us that we are hungry, increase. So, if we undersleep, we may end up eating between 200 to 400 extra calories per day. Also, by not sleeping fully, our food preferences may change to more unhealthy food choices. Thus, we may begin wanting more heavier carbohydrates and processed sugary foods. Moreover, insufficient sleep causes the frontal lobe of the brain, which controls and monitors our impulses and emotions, to shut down. So sleeping fully is also an excellent habit that helps regulate weight by controlling our impulses to eat. Now, in episode 13, I will focus on the horrible damage we cause our body when we consume processed sugar and products with excessive amounts of white sugar. Now, please do not get me wrong. Just like any other person, I know that ice cream, cakes, cookies, brownies, cinnamon rolls, sweet pastries, sweetened jams and jellies, pancakes with syrup, candies, sweet chocolates, soft drinks, artificial sweetened fruit juices, artificially sweetened yogurts, coffee with white sugar, sweet wine or liquor, and an infinite number of artificially sweetened products are very, very delicious. I know. I've eaten so many of this stuff before for so many years. I understand that. I relate to how many of us enjoy all these products. However, the amount of harm and chronic illnesses that processed sugar causes our body is not worth the few moments of pleasure we get from all the products that are made from processed sugar. Now, do not confuse the natural occurring sugar found in fruits and vegetables. These are fine. The body needs these. This is natural food. The problem is added processed sugar to our food. This next episode on the dangers of eating products with processed sugar will be very interesting and shocking to many of you. But for now, as always, please remember, life is definitely an art. So please, let's all learn how to live and to live well. Thank you for listening.